Hello everybody, this is the iFan channel here. So today I'm going to take the train from Zurich to Bern, which is 1 hour 20 minutes west. And then tomorrow I'm actually going to take the train from Bern to Milan in Italy. Well, even though Bern is the de facto capital of Switzerland, Switzerland does not have a capital. Instead, Bern is considered a federal city because that's where the federal offices of Switzerland are located. So even though Bern is not a de jure capital, Bern is actually the de facto capital of Switzerland. So I'll see you guys at the train station. I'm currently off now, waiting for the train to Bern, and I just bought these three meals at the Coop City in the off, along with this drink. As you can see, guys, this is the Fanta drink. I'm actually going to eat this pizza as well as this though, before getting into the train. Food is so expensive here. I paid around 10 francs for these three. So I'll see you guys in the train, and then I'm going to maybe eat around 17 or 18 o'clock. It's now currently around 9:30. After eating and waiting for the train, I'm finally on the train. About 15 minutes in, as you can see. Yeah, I'll see you guys when I arrive in Bern. After some time using the restroom and putting my luggage in the locker, I'm finally in Bern now. As you can see, the city does look kind of different from Zurich. Some of the architectural elements kind of look different, but the city is wonderful. It is the federal city of Switzerland, the de facto capital, and why not? I'm actually going to go around and maybe stop by the Einstein Museum, because Albert Einstein used to live in Bern, by the way. Okay guys, I finally arrived at the Einstein Museum and the Bern History Museum, and over there is actually the Alpine Museum, and around this area there's also the Bern Natural History Museum. So why not? I'm going to enter this museum. I'm going to enjoy maybe about 1 or 2 hours here, or even 3 hours, before returning to the center of Bern and exploring it. Okay guys, as you can see, there's also an Einstein house somewhere around this area as well, within like half a mile though. I'm currently in the museum in the bottom floor, and as you can see in this room, it basically shows how the city is founded and the legend of the city, and even how the city council works and the elections. And according to this, according to legend, the city's name is derived from a bear shot by hunters in a loop of the Aare. And it basically shows some of the city council leaders and stuff, including these people. Yeah, and if you go in here, it basically shows some of the treasures in the city. As you can see, Bern Silver Treasure basically shows a lot of treasures, including some drinking vessels and some trophies and sculptures. Yeah, and basically if you go here, it shows the von Mullinen family archive, with the last von Mullinen member dying in 2008, just 15 years ago. Yeah, it basically shows the entire family. In this room, guys, it basically shows you the history of Switzerland between 1798 and 1874. At first with the demise of Old Bern, and then with the French Revolution, the end of the Helvetic Republic, the mediation period, where the cantons recover their autonomy, and where the Confederacy becomes neutral. Remember, Switzerland was a confederacy for several hundred years, by the way. And with the Sonnerbund War, and then in 1848, that was when many countries in Europe had their revolutions, just like in 1989 in much of former communist states, where Switzerland becomes the most democratic state in Europe as a federal state. And then in 1874, where the Swiss constitution was revised and more power to confederation, and there was actually direct democracy, unlike the US. Another example of a direct democracy is actually ancient Greece, but the American founders, they feared like the direct democracy would not work, and instead wanted a representative democracy. And as you can see around this room, if you go to the next room, there's actually going to be music playing. I do believe it's maybe some Mozart playing. Because before I heard the Sonata number 4, by the way. At the bottom level, it basically tells about the Middle Ages and the early days of Bergen. As you can see, guys, here's some, I believe, some sculptures. And if you were to go in here, you will find out the Christopher, which was destroyed in 1865. And in here, it will tell you that Bern was actually founded in 1191, which is like more than 800 years ago. It became a city during like the 13th century, and it became part of the Swiss Confederation during the bubonic plague in 1350, which was in the mid-14th century. As you can see here, some paintings, and if you were to go in here, this is actually what the city looks like in 1800, by the way, during the Helvetic Republic, which is actually a sister state with France there. And Switzerland did not become a federal republic until 1848, just like I said, from upstairs, which is actually the current government of Switzerland to this day. In this room, guys, it basically shows you the expansion of Bern in the Renaissance period, with Bern's first years, and then Bern and Switzerland winning some battles, including the Battle of Laupin, the Battle of Burgundy, and the Swabian War, of which these wars actually contributed to Switzerland expanding its confederacy. And as you can see, this room basically shows how strong Swiss warriors are, with all the rifles and the knives and stuff. And just like popular stereotypes, Swiss knives are quite good, just like German and Japanese knives. It'll basically show you some of the swords in here used in the Swiss army during the Renaissance era. And also, here's some monarchs, including, you guessed it, the Sun King, Louis XIV. As you can see, tons of rifles. And in here, it basically talks about the public life in Switzerland at the time. And over there, it basically shows you about medicine and stuff. Of course, medicine during the Renaissance era was not very advanced. And it basically uses like a lot of bodily fluids and nature healing as medication rather than real medication. And this is actually the Insel Hospital, which is the island hospital, by the way. What the hospital looks like in Switzerland at the time. If you were to get up one level, you actually get into the private life sphere. And as you can see, this is actually a comfortable room by 17th, 18th century standards. Yep. And this is actually one of the best rooms at the time during the 17th and 18th century. Kind of insane. It looks quite uncomfortable by today's standards, but at the time, that was comfortable and considered a luxury. And over here are some people, and this is what Bern looks like during the 17th century, as well as this. And if we were to go in here, you actually find some private art collections in homes during the time. As you can see, these are some pieces of art, as well as some furniture as well. And if you were to go all the way here, you would find a stove, by the way. Yes, a stove. And of course, the living room was invented during the late Middle Ages, and it basically looked kind of like this. Not a very comfortable place to stay in today's standards, of course, but at the time, that was considered kind of luxurious. I'm currently in the treasures from the tombs of ancient Egypt. As you can see, guys, here's some of the older treasures from Egypt, some of the artifacts. Of course, nowadays, even though Egypt's standard of living is much better than it was during the ancient times, the early, middle, and late kingdom, and the intermediate period, of course, Egypt today does not have as much influence in the world as Egypt at the time. And in here is actually the Oriental collection of Henry Moser. As you can see, it kind of looks like some sort of Muslim thing. But if you were to go in here, there's actually the Persian reception room. Yeah, basically Iranian of today though. As you can see, some Iranian works of art. In the first floor, you actually see the Dukes of Burgundy. As you can see, guys, Burgundy is somewhere around modern France, and of course, like the north is much wealthier than the more agricultural south, just like in Italy and in France today. And of course, just like other monarchs, the ruling class of Burgundy does show their great liking for art and appreciation. And Mary Burgundy did marry the emperor's son, who's Maximilian of Austria, in 1477. And here are the custom medals during the wedding. Of course, standard of living was not very high during the Renaissance. As you can see, look at it. Philip the Fair, he died at before 30 years old, which is extremely early in like today's world. Of course, life expectancy is like around 80 or 90 years in developed countries, and around 70 years elsewhere. So of course, standard of living was really bad. And here's some more like clothing and artwork during the medieval era. Of course, standard of living was not very high. And there's actually medieval music being played here. Across from the captured treasure lies a totally opposite realm. Actually, it is a museum dedicated to a football team in Switzerland. As you can see in here, we'll actually show you the history of the football team. And as you can see, yeah, this football team did win a World Cup against the Nazis in 1938, by the way, which meant it did achieve something quite big, by the way. And of course, this team was founded, I believe, in the late 19th century, but I'm not sure, or early 20th century, somewhere around there. As you can see, it's quite cool. And why not, guys, I'm actually going to go to the Einstein Museum, which is just one floor up, by the way. Yeah, this team still exists to this day, and it is around 125 years old, so 1898 might be the year it was founded. So this is the Einstein Museum. I'm just going to go up and explore about Albert Einstein's life. Up in the second floor, we'll see the Einstein Museum, and as you can see, this is one of the first members of the Einstein family in Buchau. In 1665, Baruch Moses Einstein settles in Buchau. Yes, way before Einstein was born, by the way. And there are actually three parts to Judaism: Orthodoxy, which is extremely conservative, Zionism, and integration. As you can see, these are Orthodox Jews, quite common in Rockland County, New York. And over here are some of the scientists and artists of Jewish origin. There are a lot, even to this day, who are actually Jewish, including some Silicon Valley co-founders. And these two people are actually Einstein's parents. Einstein was born in 1879 in the city of Ulm. And then a year later, in 1880, because of some family reason, as you can see, Einstein's family did move to Munich to develop an electrotechnical factory. And the Einstein family did illuminate the Oktoberfest with electricity for the first time. Therefore, Einstein went to school in Munich. The Einstein firm employed 150 to 200 workers. And in 1894, Einstein moved to Italy with his family. But he then moved back to Munich to finish his schooling, by the way, and he was accepted into the ETH Zurich, which is one of the most prestigious universities in the world today. I'm not sure at the time, but today it is one of the most prestigious, sometime in the late 19th century. As you can see, took the school leaving certificate in Aare in Switzerland. And he moved to Switzerland because he's attracted with liberal democracy, by the way. And over in Switzerland, he met Mileva Marek, who ended up being his spouse, by the way. She's one of the few people in Austria-Hungary at the time who could actually go to school, the few females. Of course, the Zurich Polytechnic is one of the best technical universities and one of the best and most prestigious, according to QS World Reports. And after these two married, they ended up having 3 children. Their first, Luzern, ended up dying at 1 or 2 years old. And in 1900, Einstein did pass his exam, but with mediocre marks. Many do say Einstein did perform poorly at school, and why not? We're going to the next room. Sometime during Einstein's time in Switzerland, he did renounce his German citizenship, which rendered him stateless. But then in 1905, something big happened. He discovered the theory of relativity. While special relativity is an explanation of how speed affects mass, time, and space, general relativity mostly talks about gravity. In the early 20th century, Einstein was admitted to the patent office in Bergen, where he did live a comfortable middle-class life. And in 1905, Einstein discovered the special theory of relativity. And over here it does describe the theory of relativity. And several years later, he then worked as a lecturer in the University of Bern before being a professor at the University of Zurich in Switzerland. Since salaries in Prague are a bit higher because he was offered a chair, he then accepted the offer and then went there. Then in 1911, just before World War I, Einstein did accept a chair at the Swiss Technical University, which is ETH Zurich, where he used to go for school. And then he divorced his spouse and married his cousin, by the way, which might seem kind of strange, but that's what he did. He departed from Zurich when World War I started. And a year after World War I started, Einstein did complete the general theory of relativity, which is basically a supplement of the special theory of relativity. And this is what the general theory of relativity is. Just like the special theory of relativity, it is described in 4 steps. World War I did perish a lot of people, but Germany did lose World War I and the Weimar Republic ended up forming. But the Weimar Republic soon crumbled because of hyperinflation and economic troubles. And then Hitler did rise to power several years later. Once Adolf Hitler rose into power, Einstein did flee Germany for real because Adolf Hitler wanted to persecute the Jewish population as well as other populations, just like how I described in Berlin several days ago. During the 1920s, Einstein did discover a lot of other things, such as a gyroscopic compass, a refrigerating machine for refrigerators, and even a hearing aid as well, as he's actually an engineer. In 1933, Einstein immigrated to the US. Of course, he immigrated to the US in 1933 and then got naturalized in 1940, and he became a US citizen by then. He did tell his spouse to move back to Yugoslavia, but Yugoslavia is actually worse off than Switzerland, because Switzerland was shielded out from the Nazis during World War II. Einstein was then accepted to the Institute of Advanced Study in Princeton, where he served as a post over there. And over here is actually his house in Mercer Street. I actually did visit his house like 2 years ago. It was not open. I did take a picture over there. But because of World War II, Einstein did send a letter to Roosevelt about the Manhattan Project, asking to drop a nuclear bomb on the Nazis. Even though Einstein is actually a pacifist and is extremely political and is definitely for sure a socialist. Of course, World War II meant like the treatment up against the Jews are much, much worse. Instead of being arrested or even persecuted or being forced to flee, many Jewish were actually being killed and exterminated by the Nazis. Around 6 million Jewish were perished during World War II. In 1945, World War II ends with the bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Japan. Here are Einstein's last years. In 1952, somebody made an offer for Einstein to become the president of Israel, but he turned down on that offer, and he died 3 years later in 1955 at 76 years old. He could have lived much longer, but Einstein refused an operation, and then he just died with his last few words. And of course, like during the Cold War, the US was actually hostile towards like socialists and scientists and Jewish people, calling them as called spies, and threatened deportation. I'm currently at the very top level, and it describes Bern in the 20th century. The 20th century is where life starts to become rapidly better than like previous centuries where life was still very primitive. People started to live longer, and standards of living were much higher. As you can see, guys, this is actually a petrol can. And here are some other types of furniture during the 20th century. Now things started to get much better during the 20th century. And of course, the Soviet Union was founded in 1917, by the way, as the RSFSR. And then World War II started. As you can see, there's much better standard of living during the 20th century. And if we were to go down here, this is actually the end of World War II, where many people are injured. And this is Winston Churchill as he met Bergen in 1946, the year after World War II ended. And after World War II is when life really started to get better, as many countries started to become democratic. But some did become totalitarian, by the way, with communism. As you can see, there are several new inventions, such as this. That is actually called the Silt Lamp 900. I start to see several advances until you go all the way to the very end. As you can see, this is actually the Apple III, by the way. Sorry, the Apple IIe. Even though this computer is extremely slow by modern standards, it was very fast during the late 1970s though, and early 1980s. Of course, it will pale in comparison to my M1 MacBook Pro, let alone the M2 MacBook Pro, by the way. At the very end, you'll find the smart car. Yes, the smart car. Smart is actually a subsidiary of Daimler-Benz, and it was founded by a guy at Zurich, by the way, in Switzerland. This is actually a prototype of the smart car, which is actually a segment A city car. Now, since there are a lot of things to do in Bern, with the old town of Bern itself being a UNESCO heritage site, why not? I'll leave the Bern History Museum and go over to the old town to take a look at the Zytglogge, which is actually a mechanical clock built in the 15th century. On the way to the old town of Bern, I'm currently in the Kirchenfeld Brücke, looking through the river Aare, A-A-R-E. As you can see, it is absolutely breathtaking over here. The scenery is absolutely beautiful, just like that of Luzern and even Zurich. But down there, there's actually a suicide net, as you can see. Yeah, there's a suicide net. And as you can see, guys, it is absolutely breathtaking. Why not? I'm actually going to go to the old town of Zurich, and I'll see you guys there. We're finally in Zytglogge, and in Bernese German, Zytglogge means time bell. The clock was totally destroyed in 1405 because of a fire, and in 1405 Zytglogge was actually given the name Zytglogge. The Zytglogge was actually built in 1220, 200 years before it was destroyed, and as you can see, this is actually the medieval center of Bern, by the way, which is actually a UNESCO heritage site. This clock has existed for 800 years and is one of the most recognizable towers in Bern, Switzerland. It served as a guard tower, a prison, clock tower, as an astronomical clock, by the way, the center for urban life in Bern, as well as, you guessed it, a civic memorial. Basically, it served a lot of purposes. Kind of like the clock in Prague, by the way, I showed you last year, which was built 200 years later. Unfortunately, I cannot enter the Zytglogge. I don't know why, but I do believe it is closed for today. So why not? I'm just going to walk around Bern and explore the medieval UNESCO heritage site. Oh my goodness, that streetcar or bus. Yes, I was almost hit by the cable bus, by the way. Okay guys, I just arrived at the Einstein house, his apartment in Bern, which is actually open. I did go to Einstein's house in Mercer Street in Princeton, New Jersey 2 years ago, which is around 4.5 hours away from my house in Boston. So right now I'm going to enter and get a ticket and why not just go around. Okay guys, I'm sorry for filming because at this Einstein house they do not allow videos. Unfortunately, there are actually no videos at the Einstein house since videos are not allowed. So why not? I'm going to tour around Bern. But first off, a bit of history. As you guys might know, Bern was founded in 1191. And even though this whole city was burnt on fire in 1405, during much of the 18th century, bits of Bern were reconstructed, as you can see, guys. And of course, Bern still retains its medieval character, even though much of Bern was reconstructed during the 18th and 19th centuries. I just took the bus to the other side of the Aare river, and as you can see guys, this is actually the bear pit. I don't know when the bear is available. Oh, it's available already. As you can see, this is actually a bear. There's actually a zoo nearby, by the way, and look at the city view. It is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not going to enter the zoo because I already went to a zoo in Berlin, so why not, guys? I'm just going to see this bear and say goodbye to the bear. Why not? I'm actually going to go somewhere else in the city because there's a lot more things to do in Bern. After getting my luggage and stuff, I decided to get food. Fries, onion rings, long chicken, and of course a extremely big drink, by the way, because I ate quite less for breakfast. And then after eating, I'm actually going to go to the hotel and to stay for the night. And I'm thinking I might go outside, but I don't know. Because I've not visited all of Bern yet. I only visited some museums and some attractions. So why not, guys? I'm going to eat and then go to the hotel. Sorry, my voice is kind of bad nowadays. I have allergies. Okay, guys, this is another clock in Bern, Switzerland. It's called a Kaifigturm. It was built in 1256 and it was used as a gatehouse during the second expansion of Bern. It was demolished in 1640, but then it was immediately rebuilt right after its demolishing. Okay guys, this is my hotel room just with a single bed and a sink. This does not have a private restroom. However, there's actually a public restroom, a public shower. Hotels in Switzerland, especially in Bern, are very expensive. The cheapest hotel I could find is like 140. I paid around $100 US for this hotel next to the center of the city. So that's what I had to deal with, yeah. Basically, this is the most expensive hotel I paid for because every other hotel on this trip I paid under 100 a night, by the way. After some rest, I decided to go out again, and over here, guys, is actually the Parliament building. As you can see, this is the Federal Parliament building, and over there is Bundesplatz, which is actually Federal Square, by the way. This is actually a clearer view of the Federal Parliament, and as you can see, the waterfall just went away, unfortunately, so kind of bad timing over there. But there used to be waterfalls just several minutes ago. I'll show you guys in the picture. Over there, guys, is actually the Swiss National Bank. Over there, guys, is Credit Suisse, which have collapsed like 1.5 months ago and has had problems over the past few months. As you can see, guys, this is what the waterfall should look like. A weird quirk about this building is just look at the dates. As you can see, 1291 above here, and then 1848. If we want to look more closely, these two dates correspond to the founding of the Swiss Confederacy and the founding of the Swiss Federal Republic, which is today's government. And if you wonder what CH stands for, if you go to Switzerland, that actually stands for Confederation of Helvetica. Remember the Helvetic Republic I talked about at the museum? Yep, that is correct. Okay guys, my last stop for today is going to be the Bern Cathedral, which is actually the tallest cathedral in Switzerland with a spire height of 100 meters. Interesting facts about this cathedral. It is named Bern Münster, or in English Bern Minster. This church took more than 400 years to be built. Construction started in 1421, but it ended in 1893, just 130 years ago. And over here, guys, are what the buildings next to the church looks like. So why not, guys? I'm going to return to the hotel. Here is the conclusion. Even though I did not get to go to every place I wanted, such as the Museum of Communication and the Natural History Museum, and even though I have catarrh, which meant I do have throat issues because of allergies and severe allergies, which caused my voice to become bad, and even though I do have leg fatigue due to overwalking for the past few days all around Europe, I nonetheless have a very good day. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to go from Bern all the way to Milan. I'm just going to do the laundry tomorrow and going to take a rest to recover myself from all these illnesses and ailments. So thank you guys for watching. Please give a big thumbs up, subscribe for more videos. I'll see you guys soon. Okay, back to the room.